Hello, I'm Katrina Brittingham, and I am the author of Why Not Me. So I know everyone is intrigued by the title, and they asked me, what made you come up with that title? And the truth is that I spent about 20 years in corporate America, um, and I own my own businesses, as you know, which are Venture Radio LLC, Venture Radio Broadcasting, and I do career coaching and also business coaching. How I got there, though, is of the book. I grew up in West Philadelphia, raised by a single mother, and when I started out, everything was not all roses and things. There was a hard road starting from the time that I was born. I was a 6-month preemie. I was underdeveloped, and as a result of me being a premature baby, I had seizures, and they were really bad seizures. And I was on what they call phenobarbital, which is a very strong medication for a young person to be on. And so it affected a lot of things. It affected coordination and affected how I even moved my mobility. I also didn't sleep at night as a child. I was up, I was naturally hyper anyway, and it just seems like that the medicine kind of exacerbated it. And my mind was constantly racing. And I would have instances where people were talking or talking to me, and I would not respond right away. I thought I was responding right away because it just seemed like that to me. But a whole lot of time was going by, and I'm answering questions that were asked like 15 minutes ago. And so because of that, I was labeled as slow. I was clumsy because I would trip over my feet, trip over the air, run into walls because the wall would be here, but it would seem like it was way across the room. So I would take off running and smack right into a wall, or one moment I would be walking and I would be flat on the ground because the sidewalk would be up here to me when it would be down here. So I would take large steps and would basically wind up tripping and falling. And so growing up, it wasn't easy because I was that kid, that clumsy kid, the kid that was seemed like they were always 10 steps behind. And so that kind of followed me through my childhood and part of my adulthood. Even after I stopped taking the medicine, I stopped having the seizures. It had an impact on me. I was shy, and I was very shy to a fault, where if people spoke to me, I would hide behind my mother. I would get speechless, um, and everything. So it was just a hard time for me. It was also, when I started in school, I learned in a different way. Um, they have more tools now for someone who learns the way that I learned. But I was always seemed like I was behind the class. I was in a special class for about a semester, half a semester, because I just did not catch up and catch on as uh, easily as everyone else. So even after I passed that stage and I started doing well in school, and I got degrees, I always thought that I was 10 steps behind everybody else. And I just thought it was a matter of time before anyone really found out that I was 10 steps behind everybody else. And I used to ask God all the time, why me? Why did I have to be the one to go through this? And so that attitude, as things happen, tend to follow, because you attract what you speak out of your mouth and how you think. Um, it has a impact on your confidence. It has an impact on how you walk. I used to walk looking down with my head down because I just had such low confidence. And even after I got to a certain place in corporate, I was a licensed minister. I've been one for over 20 years. And I still had that same mentality that followed me around until one day I ran into some very influential people in an organization called the National Association of Professional Women. And they encouraged me to start my own business in career services. At the time I went, it was a downturn in the economy. A lot of people were unemployed, including CEOs. And I'm giving them advice that they weren't getting from the executive coaches that they were receiving at the time. And it was suggested that I start my own business. Part of my history is that my family is a family of entrepreneurs. And if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see my cousins, my brother, everyone has a business. My uncle, Samuel Bridgeford, posted on there about the businesses to choose from, or you can choose them all. And all of those businesses, including my own, are all businesses of people in my family. And my brother asked me when I got my degree, I got my master's in business administration, why don't I start my own business? Why work for someone else? And I told him I didn't want to do that. I wanted to work for corporate. That was on my radar. But also in the back of my mind, I had a couple of things. I bored easily. So in corporate, they gave me the opportunity to be promoted and to move to other jobs, which kept my interest. And the fact that I just didn't have the confidence to start my own business. I did not think that I would be successful. I've, always thought that I had to work so hard for someone else in the position that I was, that I couldn't possibly run my own business. And so fast forward back to the president of the National Association of Professional Women at the time suggested that I start my own business. And I put forth a challenge, and I told her, I said, unless God himself tells me to start my own business, I will not do that. Well, you have to be careful how you challenge God, because I was sitting at my desk one day and I started writing. And after I finished writing, I don't even know how much time passed. I had a vision and a mission statement. I showed it to the president of the National Association of Professional Women, who happened to be a business coach at the time. And she told me, your whole business is here. So I said to myself, well, Trina, you put God to the task, and he came through with this answer. So I started my business, and I began doing career services, writing resumes, coaching individuals. And my business had only moved to a certain point and a certain extent. And I was wondering why it was that it was moving. And I did end up making colleagues in the industry was able to help me to give me validity, as well as getting certifications in resume writing and career coaching. And I got some major contracts that was funding the business. So I thought I was doing well in the business, and I was comfortable having those contracts and not having to go out on my own to really promote myself and to promote what I do. I had some referrals from corporate America and some people who knew me from the National Association of Professional Women who had referred my services. So I thought I was doing well. Well, one day I went to one of the contracts that I was working, and I got sick in the middle of the day. I went home, was driving on the expressway, and lost my vision. And I lost it in a way that it was so blurry, I could barely make out the car in front of me. I prayed until I got home, and I got systemically worse. And once I got worse, I went to the ER, and they let me know that I had a condition, an autoimmune disease that they said I would live with for the rest of my life. But it was treatable. So it was a wake up call for me one way and it was a relief in another, because I had been going through some things for a number of years, going back and forth to the doctor, them telling me nothing was wrong with me, that it was mental or stress. But to have a diagnosis, to know that nothing was wrong with me was one thing. Was putting on weight at an enormous rate. And, I just was very, very unhappy in my life. But as I sat there in the hospital, because I went from the ER straight to critical care, like I was dying. My systems were shutting down. And I prayed, and my life was flashing before my eyes. And I looked at how I took the easy way out all of the time. And I knew I had something in me, because it was always there was something more for me. There was something greater for me. And I just did not have the courage to do it. My insecurities just overwhelmed me every day. And I promised God, I was like, God, at the time I was just 40 years old. And I was like, well, God, if you allow me to survive this, I will do what you told me to do. I will do this business to the best of my ability. I will impact as many people as you want. I got better enough to leave the hospital. It took about a year and a half for me to really be able to walk a block without being out of breath. It took me that long to not have my heart racing, to not be sick. I had to take all kinds of medications that, made me gain more weight. And I was already gaining weight before. And so I still pressed. And one day I was at a meeting for the National Association of Professional Women, which turned into the International Association of Professional Women. And the president at the time, this is the new president, asked the group, what would be the name of your autobiography if you were to write one? I didn't have one at the time, and I was at one end of the room, and I was hoping that they wouldn't start at my end, because I wouldn't have had an answer. But as they started from the other side, and as they went around the room, it flashed to me the same thing, things that were going on in my life. And they say, why? Why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why me? Thinking about the illness, thinking about all kinds of things. And I heard something that I would hear often when I would say, why me? And that question was, why not you? Why not you? And I was like, okay. So I sat down and I wrote, why not you? And then I scratched it out and I put, why not me? And when I said, why not me? I started seeing the things that I could do in my life and the things that I had done in my life, which wasn't a small feat. I saved the company that I worked for hundreds of millions of dollars. I went to an organization, saved them tens of millions of dollars, built up departments, all kinds of things. And these are things that I was doing in the midst of my insecurity, thinking that I was slower than everyone else, that I was not accomplishing things the way everyone else was accomplishing them. And I sat there and I was like, even with the things that I went through, I made it through those things. And I found myself encouraging other people who had been through similar things and similar traumas. And I was like, why not me? And then the subtitle, From Insecurity To Gaining Success, came to me. And so by the time they came to me, I gave them the title. And everyone was like, wow, that's awesome. That'll be an awesome book. And someone was like, I'll read that book. And so I got a cover made for the book, and it sat for like 6 months. Never had an inspiration to write. And every now and again, I would think about that book, and that title would come to me. And I was like, God, you gave me this title for this book, but I have no inspiration to write. But one day I woke up and I had lost all my contracts, a major contract that was funding my business. And I was home and I was working in business, and my business and growing that and growing my influence in that without the safety net of having a contract or being a contractor. And one day I just began to write my story, and I wrote about 80 to 90% of the book in a day. I was tired by the time I finished, but I was like, okay. So I sat for like another month. Then I asked God again. I said, God, I got to get this book out because you're pressing me to get this book out. And I wrote the rest of the book. I went with a publisher. And the thing about it is I was already an author. I authored 2 books prior in career services, one about writing a resume, the complete interview readiness guide, and creating an interview winning resume, which is on Amazon.com as well as the Why Not Me book currently. And I wrote with a publisher this time because I had self-published before, and I'm not ashamed to admit that the first 2 books did not do as well as I wanted them to. So I decided to go with the publisher this time. And I sat and I was like, okay, I'm telling all of my business. And if you know anything about my family, you don't go airing your dirty laundry or your clean laundry or anything out to the public. So this book has me very open. It talks about insecurities that followed me throughout my lifetime, which thank goodness I am over them. And how when I got over those insecurities, how what was left was a confidence that I can do, that I can run a business, that I can author a book, that I can help, that I am here for a reason. And I'm doing this video now in the midst of a time where there's so much insecurity. We have an unprecedented virus going on. People went from working in an office 9 to 5 to working at home with their children at home, or no job at all. And I went with the mentality that, especially after I came from high school, I was going to create my own opportunities. And after that time, after I started writing the book and the time I started writing the book, people started coming to me because they wanted to start a business. And as I'm talking to them, they're telling me that they want to start a business, but then here comes their insecurities. Well, I don't think I can necessarily do it. And so now I'm coaching them on, you can do it. You can start this business. You can do what you need to do to start the business. You just have to have the motivation to do it. And I came across people who had been in business for a while, who had been to business coaches, some had not, some had been to conferences where they had spent so much money and they got a hashtag or a great saying, but nothing that would help them launch their business to the next level. And from there, God dealt with me, and that kept running through my mind. And the Executive GPS Conference, which will be in October 30th and 31st, it was born to help people get real answers to business. Because when you're in business, things happen, life happens. And how do you get over that? How do you press through that? And so the conference is there to give you takeaways, things that I've learned being in business, things that other professionals have learned. We will have people who coach in 6 countries worldwide. We have people who have been bestsellers and make a whole lot of money, and they're there and they're going to be providing the information that people need to not just survive in business, not to just stay in business, but to thrive in business. And so from getting over my insecurities, so many things were born from that. And so that is the gist of the book. And having the book come out, it is not the whole book, so please do get the book and read the book, but it's the reason, it was my inspiration behind writing the book. If someone like me, who was a preemie, back when I was born in 1978, yes, I'm giving the year, 6-month babies weren't surviving, 7 and 8-month babies weren't surviving. And for me to survive and to go through those things and to be here is obvious that there is a purpose and was a purpose in my life, and that it was meant for me to influence people and to motivate people. And especially in the last year, I've had people come to me that let me know, you always inspire me. You've inspired me for years. You know, I have a mentor that, you know, helped me in corporate America and helped me navigate corporate America. And she said to me, she was like, you think that I'm your mentor, but you're my mentor. You inspired me to write my own book. And that did me well. I received a phone call today from someone who was very encouraging and inspiring, that inspired me even the more. And so God is starting to show that, you know, Katrina Brittingham's life did matter. It's the reason why that I was here. I was here to impact the people that I was to impact. And I feel like I'm here to impact you. So if you feel so inclined, please purchase my book. It is on Amazon.com. When you go to Amazon.com, you can search my name, Katrina Brittingham, or you can search Why Not Me? And I will have the link to the Amazon site on this at the bottom of this video. So, and I'm putting this video on all the mediums. I'm putting it on YouTube, I'm putting it on LinkedIn, I'm putting it on Facebook, I'm putting it on Instagram. So no matter where you are, please like, friend, connect, and follow. And you will see other motivational videos. You'll see the radio and the TV show. You'll see all kinds of inspirational things on there. And if you need a business coach or a career coach, you can email me at info@ventureready.net. But I do thank you for listening to my story. And I will be on here with some more things and some more tips that I've learned on all of those mediums. And I look forward to encouraging you and helping you and pushing you into that place that you need to be. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day.